Perfect.
All right. Stop recording. Okay. Thanks. Just before we get on to your position at DHS and what you've done, I had a look at your really impressive CV, and I see most recently you become the KZN women's coach. You're the SA and 21 men's selector. But what stood out for me is I saw that you did some work with the SA Ladies Olympic squad. And yeah, that must have been, you know, quite interesting for you. And tell me a little bit more about it.
Yeah, geez, it was an epic experience. So last year, I got a call from Rob, who is the national coach, to come across to one of the kind of selection camps. That was last year. Across there, got my first experience of a women's national camp, because I have been involved in a men's camp before. Yeah, I had to run sessions, had to coach teams and all that. Then in January, we went across to Joburg again, which now was the final selection camp. And then from there, we flew straight away to Stellenbosch, where we played against Ireland and Germany in a test series. And it was awesome. I mean, I was fully involved, did video work with the players, on the radio to Rob during the games. And it was just an incredible experience being able to kind of see that next level, that international level. So yeah, quite lucky to get involved there.
Yeah, it must have been a great experience, and yeah, and it's a pity. You know, we're not quite sure whether the Olympics will take place. Definitely not this year, I'm sure, but you know, maybe in early next year, mid next year. And yeah, it would have been a great opportunity. As you said, you were there, not fully involved, but yeah, it would be great. And I mean, unbelievable experience, but it would be great if you can have the opportunity of going with that team to the Olympics.
Yeah, I don't think there is a chance of that, because I think there's an Olympic rule where only, I think it's 2 staff members go. So that's normally your coach and your manager. And I think an assistant coach goes with. So those guys have been appointed already. But yeah, it's definitely a long-term goal, but I don't think it can kind of happen in this first cycle.
Yeah, what an amazing experience, man. Thanks.
Yeah.
Just going back, I mean, as an old boy, I just want to go back a few years to the situation that we're all fully aware of that happened at Michaelis probably a couple of years ago, where I would probably say our hockey was quite a sad state, and there was quite a few emails and messages from old boys that they arrived at Michaelis and to watch DHS play hockey, and I think if I'm not mistaken, we had like 2.5 teams. I think some of the boys played for the under 16As and ended up having to play for the first team. And that was prior to you joining DHS. And with that in the back of your mind, at the state of DHS hockey back then, why DHS? I mean, I think where you were at Glenwood, you had a very successful hockey system going there. You got a very successful first team. Why DHS?
Yeah, I mean, I did. I had quite good at Glenwood. I think we finished 8th in the country that year. It was an incredible team, and there was teams coming through. But I don't know. I kind of get excited by projects. You know, I mean, Glenwood kind of had this history of good hockey in these recent years. So kind of whatever you do, it's kind of expected, you know, because Glenwood has been doing well. Just like if someone took over at Maritzburg College or wherever, it's kind of expected. Where, like you said, I mean, DHS hockey, they really weren't in a good space. And I just saw it as this awesome opportunity to kind of get on board with this project. I saw some really big guys join the school. I mean, Nathan Pillay, he's a guy I absolutely admire, probably one of the best directors of sports, I think, in the country. And, you know, if you see him going across to DHS, it kind of makes you think something's definitely happening here. And that got me kind of excited. And then the school kind of allowing me to develop my own program. You know, it's kind of starting from zero. It's, you know, it's something I love doing, those little projects. Yeah, that was probably one of the biggest thing. And then just, I mean, even when I was at school, I just remember when you played against DHS, it was always a big game. You know, the old boys were out, you know, there were fans, there was this massive vibe, you know, about DHS. That just started fading away, you know, without being ugly, you know, DHS just, it was almost a joke in terms of hockey, eh? When you arrived, you knew you were going to win 10-0. It was a bit of a waste of time. And it was just so sad. Now, I used to always say, I was like, guys, if KZN hockey wants to be a powerhouse again, it needs DHS. So yeah, that was another reason why I came across, just to, you know, a school like DHS has to be back up there and competing with everyone.
Yeah, Bakes, as I said, you know, it was very fortunate for the school to gain someone, the services of someone like yourself, especially with, you know, what you up till then had achieved already in KZN and schools hockey. I agree with you. Nathan is really a great guy to work with. And as you say, if someone of his caliber comes across to DHS as a director of sport, you know, then it does bode well for the school. I'm going to now take you to January 2018. You arrive at DHS knowing the situation of the hockey as it is. And when you arrive there, just tell us what you faced with and how many teams, you know, you started off, you come to your first practice, and how many teams did you start off with?
Sure, Shedders. I'll never forget that first practice. Literally, we spoke about it the other day on our coaches group, because I've had quite a few coaches who've been with me from the start, and we just said, guys, can you remember when we first started here? Again, I've coming across from a school, we finished 8th in the country, you know, we're beating big schools. I got national players. I mean, I got a kid who's player of the tournament at the under 18 RPT. So I'm working with these, I mean, they are just these top players. And you come across, and, you know, I'll never forget the first practice. I arrived and guys had their caps backwards. Oaks were wearing like a red Billabong vest. I didn't know what was happening, you know, and just had to kind of abruptly stop all of that. There was almost no pride, like coming down to the turf, and this is a first team practice. So kind of had to start instilling a bit of pride and making guys realize, you know, you're representing the first team here, you know, or an A team here. And you mentioned some of the old boys, you know, you got like a Mark Cullen, you got a Richard Curtis, you know, you've got some incredible guys who've come through, you know, DHS hockey program. You can't be walking around with your cap backwards. So just kind of instilling a bit of a pride and culture back in the school, and just trying to get kids to play hockey again. I'll never forget, kids didn't want to play sports. It was something I've never experienced in my life. Guys just didn't play sports. You had to beg them to come to a hockey practice. And then when you say, guys, you know, we got gym in the morning, that was, you know, almost unheard of. So that kind of first year was just instilling a bit of a culture again, a bit of pride, trying to get a high performance mindset back in the school, winning. The Oaks had no idea what that was. I'll never forget, we went on tour to Felixton and Grant Lee. Just a cool little tour. I started with the guys. And the first team won, or the first game there, I think it was against Grant Lee. I'll never forget, we were in a huddle on the One Oak, like, started crying. And it was like, sir, this is the first sports fixture I've ever won at DHS. You know what I mean? This is a guy in matric at DHS, you know, the school that was an absolute powerhouse. So that first year, you know, it was tough, but I knew what I was getting myself into. And like I said, I like a project. And we just kept saying to ourselves, you know, 5 years time, you know, this is the building block. But then also just, I mean, with those kids, just their improvement. You know, they went from losing 15-0 to Maritzburg College, you know, 10-0 to Glenwood. And all of a sudden, there were 1 or 2 games. I think Northwood was like a 4-2, you know, Kearsney was a bit close. So all of a sudden, now you've got these kids who were the whipping boys, you know, in a school that literally, we only had 1 team in the open age group. We had a first team, and you go to college and they've got 10 teams, you know, I couldn't even drop Oaks. And all of a sudden, you're competing against them. So that was the first year. It was an eye opener, but it was something we knew we were getting ourselves into. Eh?
Yeah, well, Bakes, I can bear testimony on that because my son, as you know, Ross played in the first side last year, and I'm sure they didn't win many games, but when they came up against the top schools like Maritzburg College, Northwood, Westfield, Glenwood, Kearsney, they held them, and as you say, from whipping the whipping boys 10-12-0, they were now competing with sides. As you say, it was just getting that winning mentality back into DHS hockey. Yeah, 2018 obviously was a year that you found your feet at the school. It also gave you an opportunity to do recruitment, to recruit boys to the school that you wanted there. And it brings me on to 2019, and here I'd let you elaborate a little bit more about it. You had a good bunch of grade 9s. I think some of the boys in the under 16s played in the first side, but I think more importantly, through your recruitment, your under 14 A side was quite special, and that started putting DHS hockey back on the map. Just tell us a little bit more about the recruitment and that team in particular, and obviously also your under 16 players.
Yeah, I'm a stats guy, so I kind of keep stats. And the one thing I've got here is, 2017, I think DHS had 2 boys make KZN. And 2019, we've got 15 boys who made KZN and 1 boy make the SA on the 16 training side. That's 2 years. It's incredible how quickly, this change is happening and happened. But yeah, in terms of recruitment, kind of that first year was obviously tough. I was still at Glenwood. You can't really be recruiting for DHS. I had to recruit for Glenwood. And there was these 2 boys, Glenwood for some reason didn't want to recruit them. And I remember telling Nathan about these boys at some point, and they came across to DHS. The one's Baxini Quetta, and the other one was Ndondo, who both in their grade 9 year made the KZN on a 16 side, and Bags making an SA on the 16 team. Just absolutely incredible to kind of see, the 2 boys we go for, and off they go and make 2 big teams. And then initially I thought it would be tough to get boys to DHS because of the hockey results. The big school comes across and goes, hey, we were unbeaten last year, and this is how many national players we have. But just, kind of talking to parents and telling boys, this is where we're going. This is our plans. Your son's getting, he's going to be part of this exciting project. And parents, they bought into it. And I've got to thank them and the boys for kind of, coming across and trusting us. And then last year we saw our under 14 A side go unbeaten, which is, you can't believe it. You actually can't believe it. 2017 DHS on the 14A side, I think the average score was probably 9-0. And then you have 2 years later an unbeaten team. I think they lost 1 game at a festival. It's incredible to happen so quickly. And then this year, 2020, again, a 14A group that I was so excited to see. So yeah, the recruitment's going well, and I'm lucky I've got a really good hockey team. I've got Harold Siaya who gets involved. We had Jason Flanagan who helped me initially, kind of get the thing started. So had a really good team of coaches to kind of help me with that.
Yeah, Bakes, as I said, for me, it was as an old boy, it was a great pleasure to see the improvement in DHS hockey, and personally. Obviously with Ross playing first team, I was there every Saturday, and what really pleased me was to see that under 14 side. And I never forget, a game played at Riverside where you beat a team that had 11 plus couple on the bench, KZN school players from the previous year. And I remember you chatting to me afterwards about some of the players that, you didn't even know what school they came from. And I remember that game specifically, you won 2-0. And it just was a remarkable achievement, not only on behalf of the boys, but I think more importantly, in the short time, the system and structures that you and your team have put in place at DHS. And yeah, which brings me on again now to 2020. And you and I have spoken a lot, and you spoke very highly of your current under 14 A side for this year. You were high hopes for your under 16 side, and this whole lockdown or virus must have come as a huge blow to you. And I know we had one game against Westfall, which under 14As won 2-0. The B side drew, and you were disappointed with your under 16 A side. I remember you and I having a chat. Just tell me a little bit, how this has really dampened, well, not dampened your spirits, but, you were so looking forward to a good season this year, and then along comes, unfortunately, these circumstances.
Yeah, you kind of keep thinking about it. I mean, so that 14A side, they won 3-0. And Westfall had they had a great team. They also got good recruitment. They've got a great program. And I umpired that game, and just, watching those boys, they were really going to be a powerhouse this year, on the 14A side. And then the 16A side, it was an 8:00 game. There was indoor RPT going on, so we moved the game. They were supposed to play on Wednesday, and it was one of those days you're sitting as a coach and you can just see you're never going to win. It happens in sports. But to be fair, Westfall were also, again, a really good hockey program. They had a great day. So both those teams, we were really excited for. And even the first side, I think this was probably going to be the first year where, we could have snuck one or two results in. It's kind of 3 years of the program. There's some good players coming through. We've got a really good bench with our youngsters. Obviously it's a bit of a setback, because I think it was a year where everyone was going to kind of recognize DHS hockey, again. Already you got kind of everyone talking about, the 14A side from the previous year, and, what's happening. Because again, I'll never forget, I arrived in 2018 and teams didn't even have a team talk before they played us. They would just arrive on the pitch knowing they would beat us. And then all of a sudden now, teams are trying to get video of us, because they want to make sure they're kind of prepared for DHS, it obviously, it's a big setback, but it's the same for everyone. It's just one of those things, yeah.
Yeah, Bakes, I know obviously there's a lot of uncertainty, and fortunately the cricket season and water polo was completed. There's talk maybe of playing cricket again at the end of the year. Guys from a hockey point of view have missed out on RPT, stand to be corrected, which is sad. Is there any plans afoot for hockey to take place later on in this year, or is this season totally lost now?
Yeah, so obviously all RPTs have been cancelled for this year, which, obviously is the right decision. I mean, you ask parents now to pay 8,000 Rand to go to provincial tournaments with kind of this economical climate. I think it's a tough ask. So the big thing for me has been, kind of counseling the boys, because a lot of these boys, their identity is hockey. I know, you don't come to school because of hockey, but, the reality is some of these boys, we only know them because of hockey. You don't know them because their maths mark or their English mark, or, the guy's good at science. You know them because, it's Marsdorp, the hockey player, or Bags, the hockey player, and now you've kind of taken that all away from these boys. You got your first team players, your matric boys. This was their last crack of an RPT. Their last old boys day. So it's, for me, it's massive for these kids. So kind of messaging them, trying to counsel them. Keep them motivated, keep them training, give them little challenges. We've sent some video. Made them watch the Westfall games, just to kind of keep that fire burning and going, hey, you're still a hockey oak. We're still watching you. We still recognize you. And then in terms of, you know, a season, you know me, Shed, as soon as that AstroTurf opens, we're going to be on turf and we'll play as many games as we can this year, even if it's on a Sunday or a Wednesday night or, you know, within the cricket season. And I know all the other directors kind of locally, they're all like me. I mean, we absolutely love the game. If there's any chance, we'll play it. We've spoken about an indoor league. We've spoken about a five-a-side league. We've spoken about the old night league where we used to play on Wednesday nights. So we've spoken about all these different things. It's just whether we're allowed to or not.
Well, Bakes, well, you know, let's hope. As you say, you know, I think we're all in the dark of what's happening. But, you know, for your sake, because I know all the hard work that the boys have put in, and I think we're not only talking about hockey, we're talking about rugby. And I just hope for their sake, especially, they get an opportunity to play some hockey this year. Bakes, just finally, you know, and yeah, just also from my side and from the old boys and from the foundation, just send the boys our best wishes and tell them to, you know, stay strong, stay fit, and you know, just tell them that we are thinking of them all during these tough times. So please pass on that message from us. But you know, just looking back, 2018, I think 3 hockey teams. End of 2019, beginning of 2020, 10. You and I have discussed we could probably have more. Should we have the opportunity of an AstroTurf? But just from my side, you know, I just and on behalf of the old boys, I just want to say to you, you know, really well done, and for what you've done for DHS Hockey. I first started off as director of cricket and worked very closely with you, and my position in the foundation still work closely with you. And you've been a great director of hockey to work with. I think the hockey program at DHS is where it is today purely because of you, no one else. And for me, I just want to say, Bakes, you know, well done, congratulations. Keep up the hard work, and yeah, DHS, because of you, hockey will be on the map again, is on the map, but will be up there. So from our side, thanks and well done.
Yeah, thanks, Shedders. I just, you know, kind of in closing, I think I've got to kind of be you know, thankful to DHS. You know, it was a big thing with my decision going to DHS is I need time to go to national camps. I need time to go to RPTs. I need time to, you know, to do all that stuff. And the school's been, you know, so supportive with that. To be honest, if the school wasn't supportive, I would have had to have leave, you know, but they kind of go, hey, you got a KZN tour, off you go. You got a national camp, off you go. You know, I'm really grateful, you know, the school's allowed me to do all that stuff. At the same time, kind of the support from the foundation, you know, allowing us to, you know, get certain kids in and all that. You know, all this wouldn't be possible without kind of their support. And then obviously, you know, my coaching team, I had a few of them at my old school that came across with me, and they've kind of stuck with me, you know, through thick and thin. Imagine asking a bunch of guys, you know, who've gone from winning games to come across and they're starting this little project here. You know, it's a bit of a risk for these guys, and they've stuck with me. You know, you got Harold, you got Tanner Bottomley. You know, these guys were with me kind of from the start. So just a massive thanks to the coaching team, and obviously Nathan. Nathan, yeah, is for me one of the best directors of sport out there. He challenges you and keeps you on your toes, and we need that. Otherwise, us sports guys, you know, we'll take advantage of any gap we get.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
yeah. And to your team, and as you say, you know, we both have worked with Nathan very closely, and he really is a good, hard taskmaster, fair. But I just think, you know, from the old boys and the work I've been doing at the moment is we both know the school is on the up. You know, just looking at the boys that we're attracting to the school, and as I said, it's compliments to guys like yourself and Nathan. Just before I close off, just towards the end of lockdown, you guys were having some quite serious cricket test matches in the sports office there while the admin guys were trying to do some work. When do those start up again?
Well, I heard a rumor we could be back on Monday, so I'm going down to the cricket nets later just to get ready for the season. Eh?
Okay, just make sure the wicket in the sports office is prepared. Just from my side again, as I reiterate, thanks so much for what you've done for DHS Hockey, and long may it continue. It's great working with you, and we as old boys in the foundation, really appreciate all that you have done, and I'm sure what you will do in the future. So from our side, thanks very much. Appreciate it.
Thanks so much, Shaders. Thanks for the chat.
Pleasure, Bakes.